Here's a great idea for your next outing. A cruise of the L.A. Harbor on a Spirit Cruises yacht. Spirit Cruises offers everything you need to relax and enjoy your time on the water. For more information, call 310-548-8080 or visit spiritmarine.com.
Well, welcome to the Thrashpie Radio Podcasts. I am Thrashpie, your favorite guy. Now, before I heavily get into the content here, I just want to say we are producing these podcasts in order to prepare for a celebration of the 30th anniversary of the launch of a great little radio station, KNAC-FM, here in Long Beach, Los Angeles. All right, now, to start, most of us can easily remember, where we were, what we were doing when major events happen in life. Wedding day, graduation day, that type of thing. First concert, that type of thing. Now, so it is with me in terms of the first time that I ever heard KNAC-FM. Now, fans of that mighty little station probably remember that first time as well, I'm suspecting. I was in Los Angeles. I was visiting from Tampa, Florida, where I was the morning jock at a classic rock station there, WKRL-FM. It was a dog of a station. I was marking time. I knew I wanted to be on the West Coast and Los Angeles particularly. But I had no specific goal right then, so I didn't know how to make that happen. And if you don't have a goal, things don't happen. So January 1986... I'm visiting Southern California, a good friend of mine, longtime radio buddy, Lou Simon, who is now Sirius XM fame. Lou is showing me around KKHR-FM, which was the LA CBS-owned contemporary hit station at the time. Afterwards, we're driving around Hollywood, and all of a sudden he says, oh, wait a minute, I almost forgot. You have to check out this little station out of Long Beach. It just changed formats a couple of days ago, and he hits a preset on his radio in the car, and bam, out came this radio station unlike I'd ever heard. It might have been Queensryche, might have been Metal Church that was being played at the moment. I actually don't remember, but whatever it was, I knew that it was the only station in the country that was playing that record. Not just at that time, but playing it ever. And I said to myself, that's it. It was one of those seminal moments. It was an epiphany, as it were. Teddy boy, that's what you've been looking for. So I made up my mind right at that moment, in just a flash. Somehow I'm going to get to Los Angeles. I'm going to get on that station. So, see, everybody has that sort of moment, and I'm willing to bet that you do too. Anybody that's heard that little station that loved it, as I did, and most people still do, have that moment as well. Now, I've spoken with a great many people who were folks involved in the inner workings of the station in one way or another, on the air or behind the scenes. And to a person, they each have a personal recollection of when that happened, of their first shot, as it were. Now, this is what KNAC afternoon legend Long Paul recalls.
It was certainly some months before. I know that I had just bought Dawkins Under Lock and Key, and Bon Jovi's 7800 Degree Fahrenheit was current. I was playing that at home, and somebody out at KCAL in San Bernardino, which is where I was working at the time, it was my first year in radio, he played me some band named Metallica, and I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know how I heard about it, but all of a sudden it was on the radio. It's like, hey, there's that Metallica band. And then, of course, the epiphany, gee, maybe I should work there.
Now, Paul, like I did, made it a career goal to get to KNAC. The next guy, Greg Spillane, Gonzo Greg, one of the most talented people I've ever met, certainly, he found himself swept up in the frenzy of the whole thing.
My relationship with the pure rock thing is kind of interesting because I had started in radio at KNAC, and I started there when it was essentially an alternative station. And that's why I started there, because I loved that music, and was interning there when they decided to make the format flip. And so when that music came on, to be perfectly honest, I despised it. They destroyed my favorite radio station. But what's interesting is that's what ended up making it possible for me to be on the radio. You know, that's how I got that's how I got my break.
Now, there were those who gave unselfishly just to be part of the the whole project of KNAC, Pure Rock KNAC. And Ray DiCarlo, the Razor, had a different story than most of the rest of us.
Yeah, I was going to the Columbia School of Broadcasting in Hollywood. Yeah, in fact, it was funny because I had heard a commercial that Ton Mastery did for him, and I was like, that's it, I'm going. So I went and then got accepted, and the whole time I was there, I was like, I want to intern at KNAC, and nobody else did. Nobody else wanted to. They all wanted to intern at KISS-FM. And so as soon as it came up, I guess Tom Marr had sent a note to them saying, hey, we're looking for interns. And then as soon as it came up, they knew who to find. Yeah, and they sent me over there, and I was like, nice.
Now, this coming January the 8th, 2016, is going to mark the 30th anniversary of the launch of the Pure Rock format on KNAC-FM. And this project, this audio documentary, and the podcasts are intended to tell the real story of that historic creation and the rocket ride that we all enjoyed during those early days. Now, the narrative is going to be mine. It'll be my story, but not entirely my story, because it's going to be grounded with perspective and facts from many of the people who were involved at the launch. Now, some people you'll know and some people you'll meet for the first time. Now, what I've discovered during the production process is just how much, KNAC meant to so many people. And as a result, it made me realize how much it really meant to me. In those formative months and the few years that followed, little KNAC made waves. There's no other way to put it. Not only in the LA radio market, but across the United States and beyond. And in the music industry. It also made music industry stand up and take notice, not only to us as a little radio station, but to the homegrown LA bands that we broke and that pushed us along. So Guns N' Roses was certainly one of them. Poison. Metallica, although we weren't responsible for their success, and as Lars said during the MTV Awards in the late 80s presentation, thanks very much for what was going to happen anyway, but we rode along on that Metallica rocket. You can trust me on that one. And it can be said unequivocally, KNAC made history. Now, my deep and heartfelt thanks go to my longtime mentor, who's the motivation behind this whole project, the king of radio show producers, Mike Stark. Now, Mike produced my morning show at KNAC and has generously provided his supervision, his inspiration, and most of all, the facilities here at the LA radio studio. Now, a finer producer and friend I could not have. Now, these Thrashpie Radio podcasts are meant to pave the way for that celebration that I mentioned, which will take place on January 8th, 2016. That's the 30th anniversary of the launch of KNAC, and it's going to be streamed live on laradiostudio.com. Now, I'm amazed, and I think you will be too, the number of people from KNAC who have actually threatened to show up here at the studio and be part of that live show. So make your plans to join us. It's the live streaming, 4 p.m., January 8th, 2016, here at laradiostudio.com. All right, now on the next podcast, I'll be sharing more of my interview with the one and only Long Paul, who has proven himself to be quite insightful and informative. And there is no tongue-in-cheek when I say that at all. So think about where you were, what you were doing when you first heard about the KNAC-FM Pure Rock format blasting out of your radio, the little bitty radio station with a great big giant huevos. And I will talk to you next time with the next Thrashpie Radio Podcast.